Hey there, I'm Camilla and I'm a watercolorist from Denmark. And in this short video I'm going to address one of the issues I've been asked a lot about, and that is when people are doing watercolor and ink flowers, how do we place the ink lines inside the petals and outside the petals, around the petals. So I'm gonna take a look at that. I'm going to take a look at 3 flowers and quickly go over how to place the ink and when. I'll see you in there. Oh, and make sure to subscribe if you want to know when there's more videos. And there's going to be more, I promise. The first flower we're going to do is a daisy. So this is a super simple daisy with these long, beautiful petals. And I'm just going to speed up this quick pencil sketch for you, so we don't spend much time on that. Now I just grabbed my fineliner, and this is a 0.1 fineliner, and it's a UniPin fineliner. I'm just gonna put the name in the text below the video so you can see it. The brand really doesn't matter. I say that in a lot of my other videos as well. What matters is that it's waterproof if you want to do watercolors on top of it. You can see I just outlined very little, and then I'm just gonna do these lines inside the petal. And I'm just going to do this to show you the shape and the texture of this petal. And you can see how where I want my lines, I'm just gonna push down in the beginning, and then I'm just gonna drag it and lift it. And I'm not gonna do much. You can see how little it actually took to create these lines. I'm not going to outline completely. This is it's not that style we're going for. It's more like a sketchy style. So the important areas are I'm just gonna put that in focus as well. I'm just gonna show you here some lines that are kind of to the side, because these ink lines are really just to define the shapes of the petals. So think, how can I create a shape that looks like my reference photo, or just what is in your imagination? Shape and texture. And how little can I do? Because we try not to overdo it. Of course, if it's your style, you can totally show all the lines. You can see the reference photo. There's a lot of lines in the daisy. Everywhere where you have a line of shadows, there's a chance to do an ink line as well. I'm just gonna do a little bit of this the center, so I can better show you the lines here closer to the center. I want that to be a little bit darker because we can use these lines to show some shadow as well. Of course, if you're doing watercolor on top of these lines, you can use that as well for creating shadow. But here I'm just trying to see if I can use the ink line as well. Also because we have a white flower, so it's not that much watercolor. Now, the next flower I have here is a little trickier. It's a beautiful blue poppy, and I'm just gonna do the quick pencil sketch again. And the reason I chose this one is because it's very the petals are so curled and textured, and I really wanted to show you that you can do that as well with the ink line. So I just grabbed my fineliner here and just sped down the video again. You can see we have a really pretty outline here. I'm just gonna do it softly, and some places I push down and some places I don't. But every time I have a bend in my line, I'll do a small stroke here. I'm just gonna do a bend in the here. I'm just gonna do a bend in the petal as well, just to give it some interest. And it's actually not on my reference, but I think it adds to the interest of the painting. You can see I'm just darkening the line a little bit on top here, and that's just to give it some more shadow. Now I'm just gonna do some very thin lines here, And that's not because there's a shadow or anything. This is because the texture is there, and we can use that to really show off this curvy shape of the petal. So you can do so much with ink lines. I'm just gonna do another one here. And I do encourage you to do this a couple of times. Just do some sketches in your sketchbook or in your bujo before even considering going in with watercolor. It's so much fun to actually get to learn your flowers' shapes, and you get a lot better at placing these ink lines when you've done it a couple of times. So here you can see how it instantly puts a shape and a direction on the petal when you're doing these lines. Imagine what you would do if you curled it a little bit to the right or a little bit to the left. It'll really put some character in it. When you put down your lines, start either from outside or from the inside, from the center. I would never start in the middle of a petal. That way it wouldn't be attached to anything. So start from the center or from the side. I'm just doing a little bit of the texture in the middle here because, sorry, I couldn't help it. It was just too interesting to not do. So I'm not gonna do the whole flower. I just really wanted to show this as well. You can do the ink line here as well, just to make some shadow on the center here. Oh, and remember, I have some classes on flowers in watercolor and ink. If you wanna check those out, I'm gonna put the links in the description below, and I'd love to see you in there. There's several classes actually, so you can check those out, and also make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel here, because there's a lot of videos already and there's a lot more to come. So I definitely encourage you to do that. You can see how it shapes the petal once more. And I can darken this a little bit, and it creates a shadow. Of course, when you are done with your ink line, you wanna make sure you go in with an eraser and remove the pencil lines. They are only acting as a guide, and we don't want it to ruin our painting. Plus, it might smudge a little bit when you are putting on your watercolors. So make sure to remove the pencil lines. You can see I just did a few bends here as well, and it creates such a beautiful petal. I love it. I'm not gonna finish this, but I might later. The last flower I'm gonna show you is a tulip, and that is a stunning tulip. I'm just gonna do a quick pencil line here as well. You can see it's very open, and you can see into the tulip. It's so pretty. The reason I chose this tulip for the last example is because of the beautiful ruffled edges of the tulip. It's it's not smooth at all. It's very rough, and I think that is one of the strength for the fine liner as well. So you can see how we can really work on an outline here. Still sketchy. I'm not outlining completely, but I am trying to show you this texture in the lines here. And still, again, we are adding these lines for the texture and for some of the shadows. Just doing a little bit of the center here as well. But here the focus is really on the outline of the flower instead of the texture of the petals. So you can see how many ways you can actually work the ink and fine liner lines. There's so many ways to use it, and there's a lot of opportunities in it because it's just lovely. Make sure you are checking out the reference and seeing when you have these bent petals, which way you want the lines to go, because you can very easily, accidentally bending your petal the wrong way, and it'll be super obvious when you do it, but not when you are creating it. So afterwards it'll look really annoying, and you'll regret it. So make sure you are checking out your reference to see which way does this bend, and try to see if you can replicate that with your fine liner. And one thing that is quite important when you are using a fine liner in your art is to really trust your own process, because fine liner is very unforgiving. When you put it down, it's there. Obviously you can't go in with an eraser or just do another wash. It's really there. So make sure you are trusting your own process and trusting where your hand is going. And I promise you it'll be a lot better if you trust yourself. So that is it. And just to recap, use the fine liner to create texture, create shape, and create a beautiful and interesting outline. Also shadows. I think that is it. But that is also a lot. Also embrace it. That's important too. So I hope you will give it a try, and subscribe to my channel if you liked it, and check out the links below where I have my floral classes. And I'll see you next time.